propose that we shall make a start on this evening's meeting. Before we start, I've got some protocol which I must go through with you. First, a health and safety briefing. We're not expecting a fire drill. If alarm does sound, please make way to the nearest fire exit, which probably is one behind you, or maybe one down there. The emergency exit at the back of the chamber will be taken across the roof and down the fire escape. Take care, this may be slippy and wet. I don't apply today. Or you can exit through the way you come into the building. It is not possible to get an exit within the lift lobby. It's a safe zone in event of a fire. Under no circumstances should lift be used. Also, please make sure that all mobile devices and telephones are switched off or on silent. Any individual wishing to video or audio record the meeting may do so. I must inform you that this meeting is being videoed by the Council and will be uploaded to the Council's YouTube channel. Please remember, anyone wishing to speak in a public participation part of the meeting should raise their hand and wait for me as the Chair to gesture for them to speak. We're given a maximum of 4 minutes to make a representation, which should be ended me as the Chair. Please state the agenda item which you will be speaking about through me as Chair. Council members or officers may then respond to your point if necessary. You will not automatically be able to reply unless I as Chair allow you to do so. The full public participation policy and other helpful policies are available. To all present, please remember to show respect to others in the meeting and avoid interrupting where possible to enable others to follow the meeting. Anyone present felt to be behaving unacceptably will be excluded from the meeting by the Chair. Any members of the public looking to leave the meeting should wait for a council officer to escort them from the building. One final point of protocol which I would like to draw to your attention, that members and the public are only allowed to speak once through me. Thank you. Now, I should say item 1, apologies for absence.
Mr. Chair, we've got 3 councillors, Nazish Adil, Councillor Jean Cash and Councillor Richard Roll.
Okay. Thank you.
Chair, Councillor Rutland is running late. He was trying to get here this evening, but he wasn't absolutely fine.
Thank you. I shall take item 2, disclosure of interest, to do with any disclosures by members or any disclosure of peculiar interest and interest other than peculiar interest as defined in the Secret Town Council Code of Conduct and the Localism Act 2011 in relation to matters on the agenda. Okay. Item 3, public participation, to do with any questions or brief representation from members of the public in accordance with Standing Order 3 and Town Council policy. Okay, that's fine. Okay, I shall take item 4. Now these are the minutes of the item 4, 4.1, full council AGM on the 16th of May 2019. Item 4.2, full council ordinary on the 16th of May 2019. And 4.3, planning and highways on 25th of April 2019 and the 23rd of May 2019. What we'd like to do, councillors, is to take all these matters together. I would like a proposer and a second if possible.
I should take all of those minutes.
Thank you very much indeed. I'd like a short answer then, please. Yep, okay, excellent. I shall now take item 5, which is the civic updates reports. And this is the Mayor's update report. It's on your pages 21 to 23. I have to say I've had involvement in this because I've attended all the mayoral engagements for the month of June, which we're finishing on the Armed Forces Day, which is next week. So I've attended all the ones in June. I have to say I've been treated very, very well by the people who I've met. I don't think we can take any questions on that, but yeah, if I'd like members to note the report. And civic duties 5B, Young Mayors update report. Oh, well done. Well done.
Hello everyone. Firstly, I would like to apologise for my absence at the last meeting. Congratulations to the new mayor, and thank you to Linda for your last year. Also, congratulations to my new deputy, Chanel. I am very excited to be taking on the role of young mayor. As climate change is a big issue at the moment, I would like to try and make Seaford more environmentally friendly. One of these ideas was to introduce water fountains around Seaford to reduce the amount of plastic bottles thrown away, and to encourage people to bring reusable bottles. I am currently researching into the costs at the moment and how I will be able to fundraise them. Thank you for listening, and I'll update you at the next meeting.
Well done. Are there any questions on that, members? I propose we note the Mayor's update and also the Young Mayor's update, and we wish you all the very best of success on your single-use plastics policy. Oh, sorry.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Mayor. Just a couple of questions while I'm at it. So maybe the young mayor would like to just give us a run through what Seaford School's doing at the moment in that particular way, and if he is aware of plastic-free Seaford and refill Seaford, both those schemes, and I'm sure he could brief on those in a future date. That's one of what he's aware of at the moment.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. I'd also like to add, Young Mayor Seaford, that Lewis District is proposing to put a single-use fountain. I think it's going to go in the salts, I believe. We voted on it this week, so there's going to at least one coming to Seaford. It's a very robust one. And I'd also like to apologise and take this opportunity to welcome our new deputy mayor. I do apologise. Chanel, welcome to the meeting. And I did say, councillors, that if the mayor and deputy mayor want to leave at any time before the end of the meeting, you're more than welcome to do so, because we've got commitments at school tomorrow. Thank you very much indeed.
So, at Seaford Head, we are working on the school canteen, because right at the moment there are lots of single-use plastics, like plastic bottles, all of that stuff in the canteen, and people buying that every day. So at Seaford Head we're working on cutting down on that quite a bit. We're working with our head of year, Mr. Handy, as well, to cut down on it's mainly the school canteen at the moment that I'm aware about. And you asked if I was aware of plastic-free Seaford, which I'm not too aware of.
And the other one as well.
Sorry?
Refill Seaford, but that's partly fountains as well, isn't it? So that's why. That links into the fountain business as well.
We can certainly
We can send all the info.
coordinate everything with James in the office. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Excellent. Okay. You sure with our energetic mayor and deputy mayor? Thank you very much indeed. It's very encouraging. Okay. Next, I will take item 6, which is the clerk's report, which has been circulated as agenda item 6, and I'd like to go to the town clerk for his any comments, and now we'll take questions afterwards, should you have any. Thank you very much.
Firstly, 2 apologies, 1 for the lateness of the report and 2 for the typos. That's what happens when you do it at sort of midnight and send it off when you want to go to bed. So I'm sorry about that. There's a few in there, but I will put them right before we put it on the website. I won't take it off the website and re-put it up. I think the main thing really is that there has been a lot going on with the neighbourhood plan, which has taken up a lot of time, as well as the induction of new councillors and all that brings in terms of extra time commitments. But we have had a successful developments with the Newlands development, which was reported back to the planning committee, where we appear to have changed the original design and layout in terms of affordable housing and funds for a football academy as well. So that'll be coming back to planning in due course soon as a new application or an amended one. Got to say big thanks to the Lewis District Council officers for that. In particular, the head of planning has been at every meeting we've been at, and done a superb job. It's been very useful. Equally, I've got a meeting next week to pursue Talent Parade again with District Council. We're trying to just meet with the people who own it, to try and get to the bottom of what they are trying to achieve, because it is certainly very grey, I think is the best way of putting it. I can't say much more than that in public. But we need to get to the bottom of that and try and make some movement on getting rid of that scaffolding and making some progress on the build. I've got to emphasise we have no powers to do anything. It is all going to be by persuasion and nothing else. It's not that we can go in there and demand things we can't, and neither can the District Council, even though they're the planning authority. But we, just generally speaking, we've made I mentioned in there a lot of the things that the projects and facilities team do, and they've been doing a great job getting lots of bits and pieces done. You'll have seen since we last met, obviously the new beach trips, the temporary ones are up, running really well. The commercial ones are as well, again running really well. Skate park's almost complete, it's getting there, be ready for the summer holidays. So you know, a lot of progress being made, and a lot of minor things happening as well, just little changes here and there, just little improvements that the team are keeping on top of, which is really encouraging. A little one just yesterday was the remarking out of the disabled bays at Splash Point, which has been a bone of contention for the access group for a while. We've managed to get that sorted now. We're going to put some more in at the end of South Down Road as well in due course. But we managed to sort these things out at low cost, largely due to Jo Whitcomb, who works for us on a temporary basis, using her contacts. She's done a great job in getting things done cheaper, like the repair to Cliff Gardens as well, which she's got a really good quote on compared to what we were expecting. But I'm happy to answer any questions or anything else, as ever. Sure.
Councillor Baldwin. Yes.
Trying to find the bit on there, but just while I look for that, the recent vandalism down at Dom's, obviously it's a concern for us as a council, and I just wondered whether we could look at some form of CCTV down. We get a lot of regular damage down to the seats in there, the shelter areas and stuff. And I know that our new local police inspector is really keen to support us as a council, and obviously the recent activities with the youth, whether we can look into something with them. And there was something about a litigation matter or something, and I just can't find it. Not the old one, but you're very sketchy about that. I just wanted to get a bit more information as to what it was about.
Yeah.
Wonderful, thank you. Yeah, I just wondered what that was about. Get more. Not the hotel one. There was another one, wasn't there?
Yeah, no,
Sorry,
I know
one. Yeah, it's publisher business.
Yeah.
What's that about?
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
CCTV, we are working with, and I have met with Don since the break-in, so we are looking at, and we did have a discussion about that a couple of nights ago, whether that's how we could do it, where it would be placed, because the cameras is one thing, but where do you put them, without making it look like, prison or some lots of cameras everywhere. So we're thinking about how we can achieve that, because there obviously is electric at Dom's, but there's no electric anywhere else. So to get cameras anywhere other than on his building requires cable and underground. So we need to think about how we're going to do that. We have just put a new CCTV system in the park around the toilet block in the park, which has already given us some benefit in that it's highlighted who was leaving the gate open, which has always been a bit of an issue with contention, because the risk of incursions there, illegal ones, if the gate's left open. So it's already proved in there. The system's not complete yet. We have got an application with a JAG at the moment for extra money to finish off that system. Once we've got that all operational and we make sure that is exactly what we want, we can look at the next system being on the seafront. But there is those issues around electric. It is only at Dom's. The only place along the whole seafront where there's electric, from sort of the sailing club all the way to the tower is Dom's. And getting across the road costs an awful lot, so we've got to think about how we're going to do it.
And the Martel Jones.
Yeah, the Martel all the way to there, yeah, that's where it next has it, electric.
If the sophistication of CCTV now is amazing.
Oh, it's
I
amazing.
went to, recently had a port, an airport visit, and they can basically see the whole of the port up to Swing Bridge. I mean, that's quite a distance, so if you placed a good quality camera
Yeah.
near the Martha Tower, you could get all the, you know,
Yeah, I don't want to get into too many technical things, but
Yeah,
the zoom camera is no good if you're not manning it. The zoom camera is amazing. I know I've seen the efficiency of those, but they're only good if they're manned. So what we're looking at is multiple cameras that cover an area and they're focused all the time in the area that we're looking at. Zoom cameras are great, I agree, but we're better off with the system around us if we can get it. The system we put in, just to let you know, the system we put in the salts, it's recording 24/7. We're going to have eventually about 20 cameras in the salts, covering the bowls, the cricket club, the rugby club, the cafe, the toilets, the skate park. So they'll cover all those areas. And we did get grant funding for this as well as part of the skate park project. So that'll cover all those areas, but it records 24/7 onto a hard drive. You can also access it over the internet and view live. You can download over the internet as well. So it's a really clever system, and the cameras are excellent. So we hope that's a similar system we'll be looking at there, but not as many cameras, obviously. Just on the litigation, I don't want to go into too much detail because and that's why I'm being vague. But there was somebody who, let's just say that they tried it on, in my opinion, and hadn't done the due diligence because they were trying to claim we were in a contract with them when actually, when they sent us a copy of the contract, it wasn't signed by anyone from the council. It was signed by somebody else. I can't go into that detail. So we were able to quickly defend that and say, I'm sorry, but you haven't got a valid contract with us. It's not signed by anyone from the council. So that was easily defended after a bit of to and fro. And it's gone quiet. So that was a month ago last day.
Councillor Levy.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I'm very interested in item 1.7, the visit to Stockton-on-Tees. From a business point of view, this council has thrived over the last 4 years, basically by developing the business side, and managed to keep council tax down. And I just wonder whether we could build a £17 million hotel before long, and we desperately need a hotel. What is the council tax for Stockton-on-Tees? Do you know?
Well, it's a unitary authority, don't forget. So
Yes,
you can't
yes.
compare with us.
Yes.
It's probably in the region, Bandy up there. The total Bandy would be equivalent where it is here, about the 2,200 mark in
Similar.
total.
It's of the
Similar.
size.
Yeah.
Okay. So the opportunities are there,
Yeah.
but on a smaller scale.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can give an example of, here's a very good example I've already looked at and haven't presented a report on yet because I wanted to gauge what council's view was on this. But we could develop a commercial policy for the town centre, for example. And there is a business up for sale there at the moment, a shop unit, which is just one on the ground floor, £140,000. The current rent is about 16,000. If we were to buy that using the Public Works loan board at 2%, our expenditure would be about 7. So we're making a profit of 9 a year. If we rented it at market value. The flip side is, in Stockton, what you can look to do is if we really, really want to attract a shop that we haven't got in the town at the moment, say a shoe shop, you could offer them a discounted rent so that you get the business in the town that you want to make your town sustainable, make it more attractive for them to come. So if you own the commercial properties, you've got two options. You can either use them to rent out the commercial income, or you can use them to fill the gaps in the town centre that you haven't got.
Just following up from that, is there a danger of pricing out private enterprise by doing this? I mean, if you were to take this the wrong way and rent, say, a dozen shops or something, then there's a risk to private enterprise in the town.
I think you would only be risking it if you were renting them all out at discounted rates. You would always be going for the commercial rate, which, as you said at the beginning, is then used. The profit is then used to subsidise council tax. That would be the way to do it, but you wouldn't be going in and throwing everything off at cheap rent. It would only be if it was an identified, and I would say if you're going to identify a shop that is needed in the town, you would do that in partnership with the Chamber of Commerce, so that the buy-in from the businesses as well. There's ways and means to make sure we're getting the right businesses there.
I think it's a very attractive possibility.
Councillor Brown, please.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Note that there's been some movement around the office of staff recently. Could we have an updated telephone list, please?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's my tomorrow job.
Okay, councillor Hunter?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Still intrigued to know about the Stockton on Tees. Looking on Wikipedia just now, 85,000 population and 200,000 in the borough. So I don't know how you're trying to relate to Seaford, a population of about 23,000, and population of the City Council is
95, I think.
95.
Yes.
So I was just trying to see how you get the demographics, so how you're trying to relate it, or you're trying to say it doesn't actually relate. And what you're trying to say on that conference is that trying to learn about high streets doesn't really necessarily relate to the location and the demographics and where you are in the UK.
Yeah, I don't think it bears any. As a town council, we haven't been frightened of doing things that other town councils haven't done. You know, we've dipped our toe in the water where perhaps others wouldn't. With commercial ambition and also ambition of providing what the town wants. There isn't a town council. Stockton is only the second council of any nature, any format of council in the country to build its own hotel and then run it itself. They have a management company running it on their behalf, but technically they run it themselves. The only other council that's done that is easy to remember, if you can remember Stockton, because it's Stockport. They're the two that have done it, nowhere near each other, but they're the two that have done it in the country. And they've got commercial income coming in from that, but they did that because they saw that as a need in their town. And having visited Stockton for the first time in probably 15 years, it was obviously the right thing to do for them. You can see why they built this hotel, because that's what they definitely needed in that town. You know, very interesting project, but they're not just doing that. They're refurbishing a theatre, which is a 3,000 seat theatre, which is bigger than any theatre in London. It's an incredible thing. It's mostly underground. It's called the Globe in Stockton, and just so happens the project manager for that project is my brother, Nick Corrigan, who works for his own construction company. So they're dealing with that at the moment. It's a £24 million project, again funded by Stockton Borough Council, and they're going to run it themselves. So they're very ambitious, and they're being featured nationally for what they're doing. It's by no means a finished project. Stockton is a deprived town. It's nothing like Seaford in that respect. It has different problems from us, but they've addressed the problems by seeing where the problems are, investing in them, and bringing about change. You know, there's a project there which is very similar to one I sort of had in mind that we could do in Seaford, which is to buy units and put multiple small units in it, or one of the larger units in town, and just rent out a small unit to each, so you have sort of an indoor market where it's incubator businesses start. They've done that in Stockton. You know, it's something we thought about a while ago, and they've done it, and I've seen how they've done it, and it works. So there's lots of ideas we've got from this conference, which I still haven't fully absorbed, where I do intend to send a report. And as it mentions in my report here, we were there with Lewis District Council and Eastbourne Borough Council, Chief Exec and Deputy Chief Exec, so we're still having discussions around it going forward.
Can I quickly come back to you? Just one further question, that's one. Follow up.
Okay, I really want to.
Obviously, I mean, one of the big differences up under North is, as you know, the infrastructure is so much better compared to here. I mean, the River Tees got a relatively new viaduct going over, and they do obviously do quite a lot of activities, probably more so than what we have in sort of Seaford and the district area. So I just want to throw that into the mix as well. I mean, is there something which I'm sure that both chief execs would have realised that?
Yeah, there's lots of good ideas there. It was a really interesting experience. You know, and there was experts there from around the world, so it was very, very interesting.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Borden, I said once, but
Yeah, no, thank you, Chair. Yeah, I was just the town clerk's obviously kind of deceived in his report as he does. I just wonder whether it's whether he's looking at talent parade or something underlying. But just a point on that, years ago the boot pub used to have parades of shops. It failed. It turned into a pub. I'll just put that out there. Okay, so yeah, nice idea, but it failed. If they were going to be successful, they'd still be there. I'll just leave it at that. But thank you, Chair.
It does depend on your overheads. The big difference with us is that if we were to do it, we could borrow 2%. The booth pub couldn't do that, and the biggest cost would be your overhead for running the place, buying the place. But yeah, it's all in your business plan. You know, yeah.
you.
Okay. Councillor Olivia Hunman, please.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. On number 1.16, we have progress to regulation 16.14. As there seems to be no further steering group meetings, and in light of this paragraph, please could we have a detailed report on the issues mentioned and their outcomes for the next full council meeting?
Sorry, on the neighbourhood plan.
Yeah, on the neighbourhood plan.
We can, yes. I don't know where we are with the neighbourhood plan at the moment. We're about to appoint a inspector. But everything you want to know on the neighbourhood plan itself is actually on the neighbourhood plan section of the town council website. It's kept up to date. So everything is there. There's nothing, the only thing I would say that's happening behind the scenes is, which we're not involved in, so we've got nothing we can say at this stage, is the representations being made to Lewis District Council, which we don't receive, they go to Lewis District Council. And then appointment of the inspector is done by Lewis District Council. So the neighbourhood plan, we've finished our bit now, we've handed over to Lewis District. So there's not a lot for us to report at this stage, other than communication between us and Lewis, which has been around the health hub, questions around that, and the impact and the green spaces on there, so clarifying points on that, and that's all we've been really involved in the last few weeks. But probably by the next meeting we'll be in a position to say this is where we are. What day is the next meeting, is it? It is August, yeah. So the inspector may well have been appointed, because the inspector, one of the inspectors who's bid for the job is offering to start in August. So we may well have the inspector in situ by then, which will be good.
Are there anything else? Any other councillors, any queries on the town clerk's report? Okay. I shall move on to item 7, which is the District County Council update report. And you'll notice, I've not received anything here. It says to give opportunity for an update from councillors at the district or county level on business and activities that affect Seaford and the local area.
Chair, I'll give both of those this evening.
Thank you, Councillor Bourne.
So just from Lewis District, obviously, most of you probably read the news with regard to the leadership challenge. That's for the big this week. And also, Councillor Bourne has updated me to say that there was a lot of the changes to response to feedback from the health hub have been taken on board. And there'll be something in due course. I think that's pretty much it from Lewis as far as you know. Oh, only to say, use the neighbourhood first team. They are absolutely superb. I had personal experience last week. I had a resident that wasn't in a council property that had a humming noise in her house, 85 years old, and so I couldn't actually know where to go with it, to be honest with you. So I phoned neighbourhood first, but within an hour she was there making sure that they could escape. So absolutely brilliant control bands. And they are an absolute asset. They're literally just patrolling people, so they use those. On the county front, I was on the radio last week with regard to the grass verges, and good old BBC Sussex cut the most important bit, which is that you can cut your own grass verge, okay? But you have to take the clippings away with the paper. So you can cut that, and obviously, as James has said in the past, there has been a mixed response to it. A lot of people are actually quite happy to see the wildlife, and perhaps we should be encouraged to grow wildflowers and stuff outside the property, make it more colourful in the trailer. That's that. Still no update next week, brings that still with South Downs National Park. And there was one other thing, and I really can't remember what it was. But that's fair. There's no full council until later on, so I'm really going to count these.
Thank you, Councillor Bourne, for your update.
You're looking at me down the street in the office, I
The
think.
nursing home, did you want to mention?
Oh, yeah. The bane of my life. Yeah, so I received from the neighbourhood plan, Charlie Grimble phoned me up because the Homefield nursing home, place, Homefield Road, had actually asked for that area to be included in the neighbourhood plan. 16 houses on there. And so I understand it, it was all agreed with East Sussex, and now they're reverting back to putting a nursing home on there. So I challenged the point of what the council tax would be for the nursing home, and it's significantly lower than the property number. So they are aware that I'm on their case, and I'm keeping James updated with that, but don't hold your breath, all right? So that's it.
Thank you. Councillor Norman?
Yeah, I'd just like to say I have a phone call from a resident of Bishopstown Village relating to the overgrown verges on Bishopstown Road, bearing in mind there's no pavements. So I contacted, I PMET on the website, the Sussex County Council website, reported the problem. Today it was all cut, and the resident came back to thank East Sussex very much. And it was good, you know.
There was one. The recent knife incident in Newhaven, the police very kindly had a public meeting, and some more evidence of what happened. We went over last Friday to Newhaven Football Club, and there was a great response locally from Cedar and Newhaven as well. And there was a lot of community-minded people there that wanted to set up youth clubs, bits and pieces. The football ground there have kindly offered to use that as a weekly surgery whereby people, members of the public, can contact the police. There'll be a PCSO there every Friday going forward. Myself and other key workers, things like that will be there. So we're going to feed into each other. So if the ones can't get there, we'll get a message to just help. It's just a useful place to send somebody if they've got concerns with the younger generations and their behaviour and stuff. And obviously the more information the police, everyone can get, the better opportunities we can help. So, all right.
Excellent, thank you.
That is it, I've got off my soap.
Okay, I shall now take item 8 on the agenda, the 2018-2019 annual governance system, and shall hand over to Deputy Town Clerk.
Thank you, Deputy. We turn to page 24 for this report, agenda item number 8. It has been introduced as part of the annual governance statement 2018-2019. The purpose of the report is to consider the findings of the review of the effectiveness of the system of internal control and to approve the annual governance statement 2019-20. Actually it's 2018-2019, that's a typo. That is actually at Appendix B on page 28, but I've got an original here which will need to be ticked and signed if you so approve. The annual return is required by law to be approved and signed at the meeting of the full council and submitted to the external auditor at a date prior to the end of this month, 30th of June. The annual return is to be submitted to the appointed external auditor, Littlejohn LLP, by the 1st of July. As part of the process, the council must carry out a review of the effectiveness of the system of internal control, and that is shown at Appendix A. They are more than happy to answer any queries that you might have in relation to that. It has been produced based upon the findings of the internal control, internal auditor, Mark Mulberry, and the ongoing review of the effectiveness of our internal control. If thought fit, the council is requested to approve the annual government statement by resolution in advance of approving the accounting statements, which are section 2, which is another report. A little confusing, but it's all part and parcel of the year-end audit procedure for us to be compliant to the town council. So Appendix A shows the findings of the review on pages 26 and 27, and Appendix B at page 8 is a copy of the annual government statement. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them.
Thank you, Deputy Chair. I've been to this. I'd like to propose that we do accept the report, subject to completion of section 1, appendix B, where there are 8 statements that the council needs to agree.
Are there any other questions before I ask for a seconder?
Second that.
Oh, second. Thank you very much indeed. Could we have a show of hands, please?
Thank you for your hard work as well.
Yeah. If it can be minuted, I'd like to thank the Deputy Town Clerk for his excellence and thoroughness in the preparation of this report. sorry, in the finance manager's position, do vote for it.
Absolutely.
Got two hats on, that's why.
Yeah, no, it's Lucy.
Before you sign it, now don't we have to fill in the columns and appendix B?
Yeah, subject to acceptance of what Councillor Latham said, they're all yeses.
Shouldn't we do that now?
If you're happy with that, they're all
Then it can be
yeses.
signed.
Yeah, they have been ticked.
They have been ticked, yeah. The only one that's not a yes is number 9, because we don't have a trust. Sorry?
Not applicable.
Not applicable, correct.
Can I go to
Okay.
the finance manager?
Yeah.
I should notate item 9 on the agenda, the 2018-2009 annual return statements of accounts, and that's with our finance manager. Director, are you not director?
No. Deputy Town Clerk and Responsible Financial Officer.
Responsible financial officer, thank you.
They got the longest title in the council as well. Right, agenda item 9, page 29, is a continuation of these matters. You recommend to consider the accounting statements, to approve the accounting statements for the year ended 31 March 2019, and to ensure the accounting statements are signed and dated by the chairman once approval has been given. At 1.2, following section of the annual return having previously been reported, attached in Appendix A is a copy of section 2 of the annual return. That is on page 45. Quite a way through all the financial data that we have to submit to the external auditor. Revised regulations state as a requirement that the RFO must sign and date this section prior to being presented to council, and you'll note that at a point my signature is actually on the document. Yeah, no, that's what we've done. Let me just move on a little bit.
Page 33. Page 33.
Sorry, page 33, thank you. So, page 33 indicates where I've already confirmed my belief that the results are accurate and accurately represented before being presented to you as the authority for approval. It is then suggested that it is confirmed these accounting statements approved by the authority on this date by the Crown Clerk and recorded in, suitably recorded in the minutes. But again, if you have any queries, please feel free to ask them.
Councillor Brown, please.
Yes, Deputy Mayor, I propose that we accept recommendations 1, 2 and 3.
Do I have a second of that, please? Councillor Leather.
Yes, I'll second that. The internal auditor has approved these, and I'm very happy with these.
Could I have a show of hands for acceptance, please? That's unanimous.
Thank you.
I shall notate item 10 on the agenda, internal audit report, year ending the 31st of March 2019. May I get the 10?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Page 62 for this report, agenda item 10. You are recommended to note the internal auditor report, which is a letter to myself, but for the Town Council, dated 7th of May 2019, starting at page 67, with his findings both for his year-end audit and the internal audit which was conducted in December last. It runs on to page 77, and I can confirm that each of the elements he pointed to in the interim audit report in December and the matters he's addressed in this letter have been incorporated in the requirements for the internal audit. So again, if you have any queries, I'd be more than happy to respond to them.
Page 73.
Page 73.
Two paragraphs up, sorry, standing up at this point, sorry. So 3 paragraphs at the bottom, the question is this going to be our continuing practice in terms of the variances and the coincidence?
Yes. The variances, inevitably, any budget is a snapshot at a given point in time. And the budget that was prepared in the previous year and endorsed at the January Council was the yardstick which the 18-19 results were marked against. There's obviously a situation where certain events that are with or outside the council control will have an impact upon either affecting income received or expenditure made. Equally, decisions that the council has made in the subsequent to the casting of the budget can have an impact upon the outturn of the budget in question. I can cite one particular example, which was to appoint or to have appointed a deputy town clerk and responsible financial officer, which has made a certain inroad into the staff, not an inroad, it actually caused an excess variance in relation to staff expenditure. And I cite that as an example where, in practical terms, the budget is only a snapshot at a point in time. Having said that, any variances are reported to each of the individual committees, finance, general purpose, community services, and golf and the view. So in practical terms, the individual committee members of each of those committees has an opportunity to comment, question, and request analysis in relation to variances. And those reports are then reported back up to full council, who endorse or question as appropriate. So the answer is we will continue to take note of variances, but there's no way can we actually avoid variances. And so, whilst I fully agree with the comments of the internal auditor and understand where he's coming from, there are some practical difficulties to actually accepting how you can go about it. Variances inevitably will be netted.
Are there any other questions for the responsible financial team? Councillor Brown.
No, I think this report shows that the town council finances are in very good order at the moment. There are very, very few negative points coming up in the auditor's report. And being an auditor myself, I've read it through and I can't really see very much wrong with it. I therefore like to propose that we accept recommendations 1, 2 and 3.
Happy to second that.
Second, Councillor. Can I have a show of hands, please, in support of this item? Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Again, excellent report. Excellent. Okay. The next item is item 11, policy reviews. I think we'll take these individually. We'll start off with policy review 11A, C7, standing orders. And we'll go to our town clerk comment on this, please.
Mr. Chair, there's no proposed changes to the standing orders which stood us in good stead for the last year in the current format. Haven't reviewed them, there's no proposals to change them, just to read that, Chair.
Councillor Dunn, please.
Good evening, Mayor. Sorry, Madam Mayor, sorry, I apologise. Good evening, Mr. Mayor. And again, apologies for being late. Yeah, what I'd like to do regarding the webinar is I'd like to propose that we actually adopt the most recent 28 NOUT model standing orders, because it replaces the 2013 model that is in current use at present. This is good practice because it contains all relevant up-to-date legislation, such as the recent one of the GDPR. It is also recommended by the Surrey Hills solicitors, which was given to us as a training manual, and the Good Counsellor Guide. Also, the internal auditor recommends West Chilternton Parish Council as a good example of best practice in action. They, like other councils, follow the 28 NOUT model. So my proposal is that we adopt the most recent 28 NOUT model. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, whilst it would have been useful to have that conversation before the meeting, just to clarify, the NOUT model doesn't suit Seaford Town Council because it's a generic one and it covers councils of all sizes. Every council needs to amend the generic model to suit their own needs, and with us being in the top 7 out of 10,000 councils in terms of size, it's never going to be suitable to us in its raw form. What we can undertake to do, we do need to adopt new standing orders. We can undertake to review ours in light of the new model. My understanding was these are based on the most recent model, but ours will not be the same as the most recent model. So these are based on that model as far as I understand. but will be different because we have to have them different because the most basic models tend to aim towards about 7,000 of the 9,500 parish councils have a budget of less than £100,000, and that's where they're aimed at, which is not suitable to Seaford Town Council. We've also, because of our size, we took out the financial section at the previous review of our policies and just incorporated it all into the financial regulations, because some of the smaller councils only have standing orders, they don't have financial regulations. So having the finance regulations in two different places was confusing, and actually they were at odds with each other, and that was easily done if you reviewed one without the other. So those are different, but I'm happy to undertake to make sure ours are in accordance with the most recent NALC version, which I understand they are, and if there is an issue, I'll report back to the council.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, I have actually put in a proposal, so if it gets a seconder, we have to go for the vote.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just taking comments, Councillor.
I'll second.
Oh, so we've got a proposer and seconder for the, with, Councillor, what was your,
We propose that we adopt the most recent
Most recent,
28
okay.
now standing order.
We don't, but we don't know if we already have. That's
No,
the point of
the
it.
ones we should be using are 2013.
Yeah, but these are from the most recent ones.
But they done theirs in July last year.
Yeah, and we adopted these in June
And you think these
2008.
are the 28?
As far as I'm aware, they are, yes. I will check, that's what I'm saying, I'll undertake. If we'd had this discussion before the meeting, I could have checked before the meeting. It would have been useful to have it before the meeting.
Councillor Wyman?
Yeah, just to come back, Mr. Mayor, on this particular item, yeah, so I want to clarify, this is from the 2013 model or from the...
No, it's not my understanding it is at all.
Yeah, so you can't check at this stage, or you're going to come
No,
back...
no, that's what I say, if it had been raised before the meeting, I would have done that. My understanding, these were done by a colleague, who's not here at the moment, but my understanding was we based these on the new the new standing orders when they came out last year. But we had to amend ours because of the size of the council. To put forward that we adopt a standard format would be, in my view, negligent of the council because it puts us in a position where we probably can't function.
So it's almost as though now really need to do a model standing orders for larger councils, really, effectively, which they haven't really done, and that's what you're trying to say.
No, well,
Yeah.
to a certain extent, but now produce generic standing orders, and they expect everybody to actually amend the standing orders for their own, to model around their own size of council, what their functions are. They don't expect anybody to adopt them en masse as just one model standing order and that's it, because they wouldn't suit us, and they certainly wouldn't suit this council. They'd be negligent to adopt them without even looking at them. You haven't got them on the agenda, so how could you?
Well, yeah, I think it's doing some looking around as well, and the different types, and then they do adapt in different ways depending on the that I do know. So, I mean, at the moment, I'll see what the others are going to say. Thank you.
Councillor Vaughan.
Chair, just propose perhaps just adjourn this item until the next full council, just with Clark to clarify if it's not going to be a major issue, but it's not decided tonight, is it? And we'll just get an update from you.
It is bad practice to start deferring things, especially policies, which we've got, a lot of
Well, as I
policies.
say, I sympathise with what you're saying, however, just for the benefit of the council, just think perhaps just put it on this occasion, it's not going to matter.
Yeah, we were required to adopt new standing orders.
Tonight?
Yeah,
Okay.
so we're at the deadline, so that's why I said it would
Right,
have been useful.
I propose that we accept the ones we've got in front of us, Chair, and if any adjustments will be made, you will update us.
I will come back if there's an issue at the next meeting.
One
Yeah.
second for that, please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You've got to take the first one.
Okay.
We'll take the first one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, sorry, Councillor.
I might be completely wrong to asking this, but with rules of debate at all meetings, 1C, we've got reports, recommendations and motions on the agenda. Would it be possible to take the words reports and recommendations out? So we can still, because we don't seem to have done much debating and changing of motions for a long time. So I wondered if we could take out the word well, it's just a question.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the time everything's just recommendations, whereas when I first became a councillor, there was motions done and then amendments were made on the motion, and that seems to disappear, so I just wanted to raise the question.
I think we still do that. I'm certainly had some recently.
Well, I just wanted to bring that up, whether we can take those two words out.
Which two words are you talking about, sorry?
Reports and recommendations in 1C.
One,
1C. Oh, sorry. No, it says 1D, 1C here.
1C.
Well, that's this one.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Recommendations there as well.
Oh.
Yeah,
And
it's
then
really-
1D, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, it's 1C, isn't it?
Everywhere, I think, makes a recommendation.
The model just says motion. Yeah, because it says reporting.
I think we're getting bogged down in a technical issue here.
Yeah, I think, as I said, ideally, you know, within the training we did explain, if you have technical points to bring up, it's much better to do that before the meeting, so we can have a discussion and clarify them before the meeting. Bringing things like this up in a meeting is really not conducive to getting things through the agenda. It's best to talk about these before,
Okay.
and we can clarify them at that time.
So we have Councillor Dunn's proposal,
Yeah.
seconded by Councillor Hunting. We then have Councillor,
Just one more question, if I may. Now, I understood that we've delegated responsibility for keeping these standing orders up to date to the town clerk and the officers, which I think they're doing at the moment, and then they bring back their recommendations to council for exception, so that's perfectly legal and above board.
no, we have, sorry,
Can I just clarify what the motion was?
Yeah.
From Councillor Dunn, sorry.
Well, yeah, it's just to propose, I would like to propose that we adopt the most recent 2018 NAUC model standing orders, which replaces the 2013 model income abuse. You're saying that this is not the 2013 model, so I don't know if you want to leave that in.
That wouldn't be lawful because it's not on the agenda. We haven't got the 2018 standing orders in front of us.
You have to have them in front.
Of course you do, yeah, the councillors have to see what they're adopting. So we haven't got them in front of them, so they couldn't, if you want to vote on that, take the vote, but I would record in the minutes, that was against my advice. It's not legal to adopt something you haven't got in front of you.
we've got another proposal on the table from Councillor Bowman, which we accept the C7 standing order. Do we have a second for that, please? Councillor Lane.
Chair, I think-
Oh, sorry, do beg your pardon.
Chair, I just made, I think James has just clarified it, we haven't got to take on Council Dunn.
Well, you can't, you know, you can take the vote, but there would be a recording in the minutes that it was against my advice as proper officer, because you can't adopt something you haven't got.
Respectfully, Council Dunn, I think you should perhaps retract what you were saying, but there we go, that's it. Thank you.
There are two proposals on the table. There's Councillor Dunn's, which we, 2018, which we've not got in front of us, or we adopt the same standards, which is recommended to us by the town clerk and his officers. Could I have a short, proposer and a seconder?
You've got a proposal, so it's motion one that you're doing with first.
Round there, call it back, please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Call it back.
Okay, we'll record for.
Sorry, I'm rather confused now as to what we're voting on, because we don't
I'm
have,
going to clarify.
we cannot vote on Councillor Dunn's proposal, because we don't have
Nothing to
the
show.
standing orders in front of us. So Councillor Dunn should withdraw that proposal, in my view. Otherwise we can't vote on it.
Okay, Mr. Wynne, I'll withdraw my proposal. What I don't understand is that whenever I've been a member of the public and you've adopted standing orders, and I know the background because I've used to be here on a regular basis, you never had the original of what you was adopting ever. I never saw them in the paperwork, so I don't understand now why it's become an issue, but thank you, I'll withdraw my
They were
proposal.
in our folders, in our packs.
We've never presented a report for
Thank you,
adoption of
Councillor.
policy
Thank you, Councillor.
without the policy there.
Councillor Dunn has retracted her proposal. So, what I'm saying now is that policy review A, C7 standing orders, we've got a proposer and a second. Can I have a show of hands on it, please?
Sorry, Chair. Call the vote again, sorry.
Oh, the call vote,
No,
okay.
no, we've not got the vote.
On
On the substantial motion.
yes, okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Even though it's been withdrawn.
No,
Yeah,
no,
no,
we're not.
on the
we're not-
substantial.
Yeah, it's just the substantive
On the
motion.
substantial, yeah.
Okay, so those in favour of adopting the standing orders that are on, being circulated and presented to the council, not present, Councillor Liz Bowman,
For
Councillor Phil Bowman,
For
Councillor Mark Brown, Councillor, oh, she's not here. Councillor Sylvia Dunn,
Abstain.
Councillor John Edson, Councillor Morag Evden, Councillor Ali Hader, Councillor Anuma Hader, Councillor Richard Honeyman,
Against?
Councillor Olivia Honeyman,
Abstain.
Councillor Alan Nathan,
For.
Councillor Lord,
4.
Councillor Meek, Councillor Councillor Reid,
4.
Councillor Councillor Walraven, and Councillor Webb.
4.
Okay, that motion's carried. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. 11 for, 2 against and 3 abstentions. And obviously your number absent.
I should now take the next item, which is item 11 on the agenda, policy review B, F4 financial regulations, and I'm going to have capable Deputy Town Clerk.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. This is at page 99 and identifies from page 99 through to page 120 the slightly amended financial regulations with the input of the internal auditor, particularly at page 111 and 112. I would like to point out and thank Councillor Reid for his observations in relation to the tenders in excess of 50,000 and in fact the greater tenders that would have to be advertised, because the previous financial regulations were silent. There was nothing actually in the box, and I would suggest a recommendation that in these higher levels, 2 councillors and the town clerk and responsible financial officer be the minimum to be present at the opening of sealed tenders in relation to the value of those particular items should they occur. This is, the omissions list is apologised, but it's interesting the internal audit didn't even pick up on it either, but we're all human, aren't we? Again, if there are any further queries or comments and observations, I'd be more than happy to respond.
Councillor Member.
Thank you, Chair. These financial regulations have served us extremely well in the past, and I would propose that, subject to the amendments just referred to by the RFO, that we do accept them. Thank you.
Councillor Gunn.
I did notice as well with the audit report that there was another area that he picked up on, and I did wonder if it was a misprint. It's actually page 7 or 106, depending on what page you want to read. It's 4.3, and it's regarding the expenditure that the town clerk can spend without the council's approval. Now, here it says a limit of £5,000. I've got reason to believe that should say possibly 500, as what the auditor pointed out, or 1,000.
Can I clarify, the internal auditor did actually speak to the figure of £5,000?
Oh, where's the 500? In this report, sorry.
Chair, perhaps they just clarify the reason that we agreed that sum in the previous council.
Thank you, Councillor Ball.
Was it not on page 72 of this report? No, sorry, 70. The limit according to financial regulations, paragraph 11.1, for the purchase of items and services listed below. The last one, number 4, is £0 to £2,000 to spend. Supposed to change to along the paragraph 4.1 at 500. Is that not a relevant
I
case?
think that's a different matter. I was there when he was discussing it with Jane, and the figure in the previous regulations was £5,000, and he had no recommendation to reduce that to anything less.
Sorry, I think it's different. I just want to check it. I thought it was 500 and it was a misprint.
Are there any other questions?
I would second the proposal, Chair.
Have we got a proposal for this?
Yeah.
Councillor
With
Lehman.
the amendments.
With the amendment is described by the
Correct.
And the second one. Can I have a short? Oh. Should I say? Oh, so,
I was going to second it.
okay, thank you. In second, thank you. Can I have a show of hands for the adoption of these policies? Thank you very much. Now to item 11, policy reviews. C, F5, general and financial risk assessments. Executive Town Clerk.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you.
This is my last item today. Agenda item 11C, page 121, together with the ensuing pages which identify the principal elements of risk, and I think there are only two regarded as high. Possibly they should actually be medium, and the bulk are either medium or low in terms of the perception of the council. There are some risks, obviously, that are unavoidable or outside the town council control, but equally hand in hand with that we do review carefully our insurers is to ensure that we're covered adequately in relation to all aspects of the town council activity. Again, I'd be more than happy to welcome any questions in relation to this, but this is as presented, and you are recommended to adopt the revised general and financial risk assessment as presented here.
Councillor Baldwin, please.
Yeah, I propose that we accept these, yeah.
Thank you. Councillor Reid.
Again, a question, Mr. Chairman, that I raised earlier in the day about page 122, the assets, and I would suggest that we might need a more of a timeline again, action, not to change the actions, but a timeline for the actions. There's many things to be done within 6 months, and a lot of things external to our officers.
Thank you, Councillor.
This is in relation to assets and leases and so on, and as I pointed out by email to you, it is a matter that the town clerk is I know actively pursuing and reports to the committee of chairs of the council who review in detail both the workload of the town clerk and myself. So it is a matter that is actively followed through in detail.
We'll have a seconder, please, for accepting the general finance. Sorry? Councillor Reid, thank you. Could I have a show of hands for adopting this?
Thank you very much.
Thank you much indeed. I shall now move on to item 12 on the agenda. The general code of competence, and I'd the town clerk to comment on this, please.
Actually, report by Izzy.
Is it?
But I will take it. Izzy's busy writing the minutes. So, yeah, she's doing a good job of getting around this. But general power of competence, we talked about in the clerk's report earlier about the possibility of, for example, investing in commercial enterprises that are not providing a service as such. That is a good example of where you use general power of competence. We haven't got a power otherwise to do that, and that's where the general power of competence comes into its own. So it's being used a lot by even very small parish councils, for example, where they've got a village shop that's going to close down, and it's the only shop in the village. So the parish council have used the general power of competence to buy the shop and then run it as a subsidy from the local parishioners, which means they keep a vital service for the village. So that's a good example of using general power of competence. Hopefully we'll never get to the stage where we're buying the last shop in Seaford, but it can be used on a similar level to retain what you couldn't otherwise legally buy or provide. And as we're in a position to adopt it, it's recommended that we do so. And then in the future, if you do decide to do something, this is already sorted and in the bag. It has to be done through a council meeting to become to have this done.
Councillor Baldwin.
Yeah, I propose that we accept that.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder, please?
Just ask one question if I may.
Councillor Brown.
I know that the town clerk's got the SEALCO qualification. Can you tell us what your other qualification is to meet that other requirement?
Yeah, I'm a chartered lawyer, but I'm also a chartered manager and probably be a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Personnel Development as well. So 3 different degrees, but it's not needed for this. One thing I would like to say less about me and more about others, is that we've got 2 qualified clerks in the business at the moment, myself and Izzy. But with Izzy, which was mentioned in my training, in my report, we're in the process of training 5 others, so we'll have 7 people in total who are qualified. That would probably be the highest in the country anyway. I'd be very surprised if there's anywhere near that. I know one council that's got 3, but one of them's just retired, so they're now back down to 2. So I don't know of anyone who's got any more than 3. Yeah, we will potentially have 7.
Excellent.
Second the proposal.
You're seconding Councillor Brown, yeah? Thank you.
Come along.
Sorry,
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. Just, there's no costings down on there for the training aspects. I was wondering if I would expect that in the recommendation somewhere. Costings to the council at some stage.
There's no cost for this.
No cost at all.
No.
So it's completely free to.
You're just carrying out the resolution. The training's already been done.
Oh, right, that's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah, there's nothing. We
It's
don't have to do
not
anything else.
future stuff. It's
No. It's all done.
Thank you.
Can I have a show of hands for accepting that, please? Thank you very much indeed. I shall then take item 13 on the agenda. Councillor attends that training, and it's all due to
Yeah, just this was something that was asked for by the previous council that we report quarterly on attendance. You do, obviously you realise we do report annually on attendance at meetings. We do a quarterly report, or a 6-monthly report on staff training as well. And it was something that was asked for by the last council that we do this report. So it's just so you can see what's happened. I do know that since this was presented, we've got other councillors attending other training, and of course we've got a lot more internal training courses coming up soon as well.
Okay. Are there any questions on that? Do I have a... Oh,
Let's ask members to know.
I'll ask members to note that report, thank you. Item 14 on the agenda, it's the final one. South Downs National Park Authority elections.
Mr. Chair, this is just to see if, you've obviously got a copy of the report and the attachment, the appendix here. It's just really a question of which candidates the council would like us to vote for, if any. We can't do it off our own backs, we would need the council to agree as to which candidates to vote for. They're within the appendix itself.
I'm going to get an excellent bridge again.
Sorry?
I'm going to get an excellent bridge.
Okay. Councillor Woodman.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. I believe there was someone over to us, someone on the West Town Council, I believe, so maybe we should vote for that particular person.
So who's the...
So I've forgotten the gentleman's name, it's West Town. Yeah, just because it's local to us, I just thought, if no one else, if no one knows anyone else.
Timothy Bryant's is East Link.
We can vote for up to 2.
Yeah.
Can I give a proposal? As it's 4, shall we... as it's 4, shall we have a show of hands for which one we want to vote for? Or do you want to do a secret ballot? Okay, it's fine, okay. We'll just do a show of hands for each particular councillor, and the top 2 will recommend. Is that okay?
Unless someone wants to just propose to.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
well,
I was
propose
just
to-
going to say, can I propose, then, I don't just got any issues with EV stuff, it's always good. So, yes, I propose that we go for Mr Timothy Bryant, Chair, and Mr Richard Waring, please.
So that's the Eastern one
Yeah.
and the Lewis one.
The Lewis one,
Okay, I'll second that.
Oh, excellent. All right, that's good news. Could we have a show of hands in adopting these 2 councillors on the South National Park, please? I think it's carried. Thank you very much indeed. I do appreciate your cooperation in that. It is 9 minutes past 8. I declare the meeting closed. Thank you very much indeed, Councillor, for your attendance on a particularly warm evening. Thank you very much indeed, everybody.